Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Vincent. I'm here with my co-host Cody.
Hey there.
And our special guest Pima. Say hello, Pima.
Hi.
And welcome to Oh my god. Oh my god, it's been so long since we've actually done this. I forgot the title of the name. Oh man.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I've run out of things to say podcast. And welcome back, guys. I know we've been on hiatus for about 2 weeks. We're sorry about that. But we had some really cool and exciting things that we were working on, and we're going to bring them up right now. First and foremost, hopefully you like that intro song that just played. Ironically, we're recording now before the intro song is picked, but obviously it'll be the first song that goes through, so fingers crossed it's the one I like.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting here with, again, Cody and Pima. And we were talking for the last 2 weeks about where we wanted to take the show and what direction. We started out, our first episode, we talked about us doing like art and comics and video games and all that. And we've kind of narrowed it down more towards comic and art. You know, we really haven't talked too much about video games. And we're sorry about that, but we are branching off our video game talk to a Let's Play channel that we're going to be starting up in about a month or two.
Yeah.
And that'll be more of us playing, and we'll talk more on that.
Yeah, that'll be our video games there. Yeah.
Exactly. And that way we can be more focused on this one, because I feel like we didn't give enough credit to a lot of the stuff that we were talking about.
For sure.
So, with that being said, we're also going to be starting a series, so if something happens where we're not here for a show or two, we do have something to fill, and we're calling it the Origin Series.
Yeah.
And basically what it's going to be is that for me and Cody, for that purpose, we're going to start off with superheroes, and then for Pima, who is our special guest, she's going to be doing some of the comics that she reads, and I guess you could say hers are kind of like more superhero comics too. I mean, do you want to kind of elaborate? What is the comic that you're going to be talking about, or graphic novel?
Fail. I forgot the rest.
So you're talking about Fables themselves, and that's a series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fables is the name of the comic book series, and if I remember right, you were telling me that you were just reading one. Let's see.
I think I was reading the first one.
Which isn't that? I'm trying to think what that one was. Jeez, it's been a while since I've read it myself, but I think it's Legends in Exile.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just read that one. And that's placed in the fictional world of Manhattan in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's essentially they're in cross between Manhattan and their world. They got exiled from their world and they're stuck in Manhattan.
Alright, and who are some of the characters in it? Like obviously there's got to be a main protagonist. Who are we following?
Well, in the first one, you're essentially following Snow White.
So Snow White is pretty much the main person that you follow and watch?
Yeah.
Who else is in that one?
The Big Bad Wolf, who's known as Bigsby.
Bigsby.
Yeah.
Bigsby.
Yep, Bigsby, that's his name.
Bigsby.
And what's his profession again?
He's the detective.
Oh, he's a detective.
Is there actually people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not like.
It's the two universes.
So.
I think you were talking. It was like, what show was it on ABC?
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But instead of okay, it starts out with Snow White is in she's the mayor's deputy essentially, right?
All right.
So it starts off with a meeting of she's meeting Beauty and the Beast, and Beast has a curse. Well,
yeah.
So the thing is,
are you gonna hold back for the actual show that you're doing for your episode? I think that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
I think she's on that. That's okay. So guys, now that you got a little bit of it, you'll have to listen to her segment and again, it'll be under the Origins tag, which will still be on this podcast, but we'll probably release them in between for the most part, but we'll hold a couple of back. That way, in case we do have to go and take care of business or anything, that's done, and you still get a quality show. On top of that, we're going to be talking to Pima a little bit later about what she thought of a certain movie, which we'll get to in a minute. Because I'd like to make an announcement that makes me very happy. Cody, do you know what this Saturday is?
It's Bats Day. It's Batman Day.
Batman Day!
The Bats.
So, you were talking about Bixby being a detective. See, I like that you started off with that. Yeah, Bixby being a detective. Well, guess what? We're talking about the original OG detective, Mr. Bruce Wayne, also known as Batman. And you know what? We've got this whole segment tonight. This whole segment. And it's going to be a long while. We're going to have intermissions in between this. Let's put it that way. And it's going to be the history, not the origins, but the history of Batman. And it's going to be amazing. I kid you not. It's going to be so great and so amazing that you won't even know. So
you don't even know what to do.
Exactly. So we're going to go on a brief little break here so I can get my voice ready, and then we'll go from there. I digress. We're going to jump right into a couple of things. Since Batman Day is coming,
Oh yeah.
we are going to talk about the movies that just came out. And yes, we're going to skip over the whole Suicide Squad. We don't need to talk about that anymore.
Good.
So, I just recently rewatched, and I got Pima to watch Batman v Superman.
Oh.
Something Cody has yet to watch.
Yeah. Sure do.
Shame for shame. So, Pima, you don't really watch too many of Batman movies and stuff. What did you think of Batman v Superman?
I didn't like the filmography of it.
And why didn't you like the filmography of it?
It seemed all pieced together.
It did seem very pieced. Like, it was very patched up. I also, and obviously it's been out long enough that I don't think I have to say spoilers, but, spoilers.
Yeah. But
They introduced Lex Luthor, and then they brought Doomsday. Yeah, it was like Lex Luthor created Doomsday.
That's the thing that I get really annoyed with, is all the movies start with origins.
Well, that's not even the origin.
No,
Doomsday
they start out with
Krypton.
origin with Batman, and then they made Batman really old.
Yeah, he was pretty old in that one. He seemed like he was a little bit older than he should have been. He had some gray already. And in the old comics, when he met Superman, they were kind of both in their prime, so to speak. But you know who directed that? Don't you?
Christopher Nolan? No.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Michael Bay?
No. I'm going to pull it up for you, okay?
I think Nolan was in it, though.
What?
No, Nolan did the other saga of it. But
No, I thought I saw him in the credits, though.
He probably did something. He probably did like the screenplay or something.
most likely. Or he had nothing to do with it and we're just like slandering his name
No,
now.
I don't know. I don't know.
So
did a good job on the Dark Knight.
No. This is where you're gonna like. Okay. The director was Zack Snyder.
Oh yeah, Zack Snyder. Yeah, that's right. I haven't really seen
Do you know who that is?
No, but I've seen it. Like seen the name. Seen the name.
He was the director for 300, the producer for Sucker Punch, the director for Man of Steel, and the director for Watchmen.
This is Sparta!
But he's the one who directed The Watchmen. Now,
I've seen The Watchmen.
Watchmen's a good movie.
Here's the thing.
It's too long.
See me. Dying here a little bit. Here's the thing. They did Batman v Superman like Watchmen. That's the direction it felt
Was
like.
it 4 hours?
It could have been. It was pretty damn long.
I think it was 2
like
hours
2.5.
and 39 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was long. It was way too long.
Stop it with the longness. With the
And
length.
you know what we did? We did our biggest pet peeve ever. We did like 30 seconds of going back to Bruce's mommy and daddy getting shot.
30 seconds.
Well, it was probably more than 30
I was
seconds.
3 hours and 39 minutes.
One day we'll get a Batman movie where they don't go back to that thing. Oh wait, we did when they did the Dark Knight and stuff.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
So, that's what he's done. So, he's got a very good, track record. So, I mean, I rewatched it, and I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. Yeah, it's very jumpy, and there's a lot of things that kind of bounce around, and they could have skipped the whole Batman v Superman, build-up for 90% of the movie. I mean, for God's sakes, it got to the end of the movie, and it's like, oh, man, we're fighting Doomsday. And then spoilers, and I'm sorry, Cody, but you've had enough time to watch it.
I don't care.
Superman dies.
I figured somebody
Right
died.
at the end, Superman dies. And I don't feel bad about that. I don't, because of the fact that it's...
Batman plus Kryptonite is greater than Superman.
Batman wasn't even the one who killed him. He weakened him, and then the United States Army shot him with a nuke in space, and then he went up against Doomsday and got stabbed right through the chest while holding a kryptonite spear stabbing Doomsday.
Damn.
But don't worry. Like I told Pima, he's dead. Until they need him. Because that's the biggest kick. Is that there's always a way for a superhero to come back. Whether it be magic, not really dead,
Oh my god.
clones,
Voodoo. Reanimations.
zombies.
Zombies.
So, that's how it goes on. And we have one of the best Batmans ever in this movie. Good old Ben Affleck.
One of the best?
One of the best.
Was he good? I'd never seen it.
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest.
No, he was too fucking brooding. I mean,
Phantoms.
seriously, he was very brooding. I mean, it's one of those things where he almost seemed like emo Batman, and I don't mean that
Emo Spider-Man?
emo Batman.
Batman. What's his name?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire.
And it wasn't even that bad. It's just
Like the third Spider-Man? It's terrible.
oh yeah, that was terrible. But it wasn't that bad. But the whole thing is that Ben Affleck was going for I see what he was going after. This is Batman v Superman. So you think of the Dark Knight, like the old Batman, the grumpy old Batman who's doesn't give a shit.
I'm too old for this.
Exactly.
Clint Eastwood Batman?
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny that you say it that way because he acted like Dirty Harry through the entire movie. You don't know how much of a body count that he fucking braked up.
Oh, and then they had the voice recorder thing in it. He couldn't even do the voice thing.
And then my voice. Fucking, it was ridiculous. And then Henry, what the is his name? Cavill or Seville, whatever you want to pronounce it. He was Superman. He did subpar. I mean, all he had to do is sit there and look like a pretty boy who grew up on a farm.
That's pretty much all he is.
Range of acting, got it. And then Amy Adams reprised her role as Lois for it, and Jesse Eisenberg was in both those movies.
Mm.
Oh,
plays
that
Lex
guy,
Luthor,
yeah. Lex Luthor, yeah.
Yes. So you know who Jesse Eisenberg is, right?
Nope, no idea.
Cody, you gotta start watching movies.
I haven't watched the movie past Beowulf.
Beowulf was a bad
I'm a jaded
movie.
90s kid.
Beowulf was the last movie you saw.
I don't know.
You didn't see Zombieland?
Yeah, I did.
He's the guy in Zombieland!
Oh, that kid. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He played Lex Luthor.
He's the one from the Facebook movie. And
Yes. You saw the Facebook movie,
No, I haven't.
but not now. But you saw the commercials for it.
Yeah.
You're like, that's how I recognize him.
Yeah.
For shit. No, I'm just kidding.
I just
Oh, man,
am
but
not
no.
compelled to go see a movie. That's why they're doing all these reboots, because you got all these jaded 30-plus-year-olds, 35-year-olds, like, don't even care. It's like, yeah, whatever. Do we want to see, like, Michael Keaton and fucking Jack Nicholson and
But
no
Michael
one
Keaton
cares.
did make a movie that like was based off that. It was Birdman.
Didn't care.
You didn't watch it?
No.
You would love that movie.
I'm like, he's older now and he's trying to do a superhero movie. And
No. You go. The context of it is perfect. That's why I was saying you have to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the whole point. Is that it goes off that stereotype that he's no guy, being a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the movie. I'm not going to ruin it for you. 'Cause It's all about interpretation at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, everybody else go watch Birdman. I said this once before.
Yeah.
But I digress. Because that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Did you just say I digress?
I
Yes.
digest.
I digress.
Oh.
I die a little bit on the inside every time I do this podcast now.
Do you?
No. Oh, man. So, getting back on track, we're looking at Batman's 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
And between his upcoming adventures on the big screen, in the now filming, the now Justice League movies that are going to be coming out, and the film that just came out, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the small screen, The Young Boy in Gotham, which they just did the previews for this season coming up, and we're a season behind, and I'm kicking myself for that because apparently a lot happened in that season.
Which season did we watch last?
We were on season 2, we missed season 3, and now it's season 4.
Oh.
So, apparently, Cody, did you see that at all?
What?
Gotham.
I watched like the first couple episodes.
What did you think of the first couple episodes?
Yeah.
Nah.
It was.
Listen to this guy. He's all like, I'm too cool for that.
No, well.
Go draw in my corner.
Gonna make stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great TV show.
It didn't draw me in. Maybe if I watched a couple more. I don't even think I made it past the second one. Like, through the second one.
Well, that's because it starts off with Bruce Parents being killed.
Yeah,
Again.
but it's like really slow. That's all I remember.
It starts out really slow, but it's really good, slow burn when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like watching Breaking Bad at the beginning.
That too, I started watching that and I was like, this is dumb. Like, why does everyone love this?
You gotta get past the first couple of slow episodes. But,
yeah, probably.
on top of that, he's got multiple video games.
Yeah.
The Batman, the Arkham Knight, the Arkham City.
That game was stupid awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it captured everything ever about Batman in one game.
Oh, yeah. And then, it goes through all these different things. And then you've got, Lego Batman. I think that's up to, number 3. You got, the animations, Batman Assault on Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple ongoing comics.
Batman Beyond, the animation.
Yeah, and then you got, Batman in the animated series, The Batman, Batman and Robin. Then you got the comics, Batman and Robin Eternal. Then you got Detective Comics, and you got All-Star Batman. You get all this stuff, and I mean, it's overwhelming. I mean, I can't even keep up with all of it.
Alan Moore can't even give a care no more.
Poor old Alan Moore. It just ran him dry is what it boils down to. And now, whenever he tries to create
I don't care about Batman anymore. I'm done.
I don't care about Batman. I swear to God, you tell me one more thing and I will kill his parents again.
Yeah. He doesn't care. He's done.
But I mean, it's crazy though. I mean, right? I mean, for that many years of having Batman around, it's just crazy.
Especially now. Like, they're trying to shove Batman down your throat.
I know.
The past, 5 years.
Well, that's all that there is that's good, is that they're trying to capture that market.
Yeah.
And I have to say this, that Nolan did a really good job, reintroducing Batman into a theatrical movie sense. I wish they would have went farther with it. I do.
Dark Knight was cool though. Like at first I didn't like it, but the more I watched it,
yeah, and well, it's
I
the
was
same with
like, this is pretty badass actually.
And then Dark Knight Rises was a good one too. Yeah,
All those.
it's really hard to get into it.
I didn't see the third one. I wasn't interested in it.
But
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see the third.
And I did. And the thing is that it really brings the exposition. Obviously, they screwed up on a lot of things. They did.
Yeah.
But it really brought in the idea of the character of Batman, and I liked the actor playing Batman at the time. I think he did a great job.
He actually did. Yeah, it was awesome.
You know what we're talking about.
Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. They did a thing on him about his mom not liking. She was a protester on American Psycho, and he did American Psycho, and they did this whole thing of
the Bates Motel. Yeah, he did Psycho or the American Killer or whatever it was.
Yeah. So, getting more into the point of what we were talking about, it's been 75 years.
Holy cow.
That's double our life.
Yeah.
Double.
Over double.
Batman's old.
Exactly. And you know what? They've tried to reinvent him. They've tried to bring in, like, Bat clones. You know, the closest one, Nightwing, Red Hood, Batgirl, Batwoman, you know, Batwing.
Look at how many times they reinvented the suit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
100 times? I don't know.
That's something we were going to cover later on, is how many different suits between everything.
Stupid amount.
Okay? We're also going to cover what goes into those suits. So, like, the utility belt. And, like, all the ridiculous shit in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll get to that.
All kinds of gadgets.
But, Cody, I'm going to take you back to 1939.
Oh, my God.
So, picture this. 1939, National Comics, later to be known as DC Comics.
Love it.
They were looking for a new superhero character who would build on the success of Superman. Okay? Editor Vin Sullivan turned to what appeared to be an unlikely creative source, a gag cartoonist, Bob Kane, and asked him to design a new hero. Kane conceived one of the most popular and enduring characters of the 20th century. That character was Batman. Now, pop quiz here. Cody, what was the very first Batman story?
The Case of the Chemical Syndicate.
And double points. Who wrote it?
Bill Finger?
Yes.
And written and then drawn by Kane.
Exactly. Now, this was published in Detective Comics number 27. So, for 26 comics in Detective Comics, the one thing Batman is known for, he never existed.
Yep.
So just think about that. This hit newsstands on March 30th, 1939. Okay? Now, if you look at a cover date now, from the very first comic, it's probably going to say, like, May 1939, because that was probably their reprinting. Now, here's a little synapse of it, and then, Cody, after I give the synapse of this and what was in there, I'm going to have you jump to the next era of Batman. So, let's put it this way. So, Kane published this in 1939. It was the first story. Batman was introduced as bored socialite Bruce Wayne. Donning his iconic costume, he became a ruthless, crime-fighting, just badass, even back then, who dispatched thugs with grim satisfaction, a fitting end for his kind, Batman announced, after knocking a criminal into a vat of acid. Now, what's that tell you right there? Original Batman didn't have his golden rule. No killing was Batman's golden rule. First comic ever. Batman killed a person. Technically, he didn't die. We find that out later on. But he didn't care. Okay? Now, this also was the first time that Batman utilized something that I love, the utility belt. It was the first time, and he removed a gas pellet filled with a deadly gas in Detective Comics number 29. This was in July 1939. So, down the road a little bit. So he started off, no real cool utility gadgets or anything. Then we jump ahead to when he used the first boomerang-like Batarang. The first Bat-themed vehicle was the Batplane. So it wasn't the Batmobile to start off with. Which is kind of funny, because the first thing that Batman was around him was in a plane. And
it legit probably looked like a plane.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't a Batwing or anything.
No. It was like, it probably had the Batman face in the front. But, okay, they both made their debuts in Detective Comics number 31. And that was September 1939. Okay? Now, we're in September. This originally started in March. Batman's tragic origin story, in which a mugger guns down Bruce Wayne's parents as the family walks home from a movie. Which, does anybody remember what the movie was?
What, the 1989 Batman?
No. The movie that they went and saw.
Oh. To Kill My King? No. What did they...
Mask of Zorro.
Mask of Zorro. Okay.
Good old Zorro movie. Because of the fact that in the comics you'll see Bruce kind of walking down with it, acting like he's sword fighting.
Yeah.
So, okay, so they walk home and they get shot in the alley, crime alley. Okay, this was introduced 6 months after his debut in Detective Comics number 33. 6 months after the original release of him. So, original Batman not only didn't care about killing, but at the time, nobody even knew his parents were dead, and that's why he was acting like this. Now, Cody, why don't you take us to the next decade in the 1940s? Why don't you give me a little bit of information of what happened to Batman after that?
Well, after all that sad, tragic origin, in the 40s, he, basically the duo was born, the dynamic duo was born in Detective Comics, April 1940, number 38. They introduced his trusty sidekick, Robin, Dick Grayson, who was a circus performer. He was orphaned when a gangster murdered his parents as well. After Batman teamed up with Robin, the tone of their stories changed. No longer a grim Avenger who talked to himself, Batman evolved into a lighthearted father figure for Dick Grayson, trading his wisecracks with his young partner. But originally, Bob Kane agreed to fight out Robin for just one issue, and DC's publisher, Jack Leibowitz, was against the idea of having a youngster fighting against gangsters. Probably didn't want to promote young violence, but after sales doubled on the first issue to feature the boy wonder Dick Grayson, Leibowitz sheepishly agreed to keep Robin going on in future issues. All about the Benjamins. So Batman did his own self-titled comic in 1940, while continuing to be featured in the original Detective Comics. Batman #1, spring 1940, was notable not only for introducing two of his most formidable antagonists, but the Joker and the Catwoman, as referred to the Cat.
And before she was Catwoman, she was the Cat.
Just the Cat. But for a story in which Batman used a machine gun, like probably a Tommy gun, to shoot down monsters or muggers or whatever the hell he... That story prompted editor Whitney Ellsworth to decree that Batman would no longer kill or use a gun.
So that was 1940 that Batman became set with that golden rule of not
Even
to
though
kill.
everybody was shooting the fuck out of each other in Chicago in 1940.
Exactly. So, just remember that. Okay? Go on.
But, there's a lot of other pieces in Batman's world were introduced in the 40s. It's almost like, with all the shit going on with the underworld, it kind of seems like Batman, like, blew up like crazy. That's what I interpreted it like.
Well, yeah, and I mean, back in the 1940s, that's what the main thing was, that you had your cops and your gangsters, and you had those detectives.
It was like the perfect, like, story to public.
Exactly. Gave hope to young people.
Yeah.
Could you imagine this was based in the 1940s? That time era of what that was? Could you imagine, like, if somebody was coming out with a comic book of today, what it would be like?
Well, they had Future Comics, and a lot of people didn't like that sci-fi
El Chapo?
stuff.
You could make one about somebody taking down El Chapo?
Oh, yeah. I mean, or just, like, any type of, like, weird crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have crime like we did back then.
Oh, yeah.
We have the crime we have now, the biggest thing in the news is, like,
it's the same thing, it's just...
Stuff.
Well, no. There's lots of narcotics going flying around from...
Thing is that they don't really do pieces on that anymore unless it's like a big buzz.
Yeah.
But crime has always been the same. It's people getting
worse
money
now than it was in the 40s.
Yeah. We'll say 50-50 because of the fact that 1940s, a gangster could walk down the street and gun down people and not get arrested for it.
Yeah.
You know, let's just say that. But I digress. We're gonna get in there. But that brings up a good point about, like, the 1940s. You think like New York and Chicago with the gangsters, which I think that really did help introduce the Batman's home. So you want to kind of go from there with that?
Yeah. But his home was Gotham City. It was first named in Detective Comics in 1940, number 48. And the Batcave was introduced in Batman number 12 in 1942. Batman's first car was a red sedan.
Yep.
But
Batman drove red Ford Escort.
Oh yeah, probably a T-Bird. But in Batman number 5, spring 1941, the new Batmobile roared into action, sporting its own bat-headed battering ram. So anyone ever seen Batman Forever? He had like a battering ram that shot out.
Yeah, that's where it's set up. Yeah.
Or was it in? Yeah, Batman Forever. But the duo declared that they didn't need a butler. But when Alfred Beagle, later to be changed to Pennyworth, discovered their secret identities and thwarted a gang of international crooks in 1943, he became one of their most loyal allies.
So, back then, the butler wasn't this great thing to Bruce. So, like in the show Gotham now, or in any other tidbit of Batman now, Pennyworth wasn't as caring as what he was. He helped thwart him. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was still caring, but
I don't know, in the animated series, they made him pretty caring.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but in the original comic, like this right here,
he really had no significance in the original comic.
Exactly. He was just a butler. I like what they did with Alfred, but to think that he started out with not having anything and that they weren't even gonna let him be. So,
but
go on.
In the 40s, the tone of the Batman stories grew more fanciful, which is what you're referring to, pretty much. The Joker became less of a sinister killer and more of a dangerous prankster. Batman and Robin journeyed to ancient Rome in their first time travel adventure in 1944, which is really ironic.
Yep. Yep, it's a time travel.
Well, no, to Rome.
Yeah.
Batman even found an enduring love interest when photojournalist Vicky Vale was introduced in 1948.
Nothing became of that. So, that was the 1940s, all the way up to 1948. So, let's jump to 1950, okay? 1950s. Batman stories became somewhat bizarre during the 1950s. Now, remember when we were talking the last episode about the Golden Age, the Silver Age, and the Bronze Age? The 1940s was the beginning of the Silver Age, and this is where you got the bizarre, weird, kooky stuff, because they didn't want to, like, focus on killing. They didn't want comics to be, evil or cause kids to have, evil thoughts or thoughts where they'd harm or kill people. So Batman became an unlikely science fiction star, regularly battling space aliens, robots, and in one unusual transformation, he even became Zebra Batman, a radioactive black and white striped menace to Gotham City. An entire Bat family of characters were added to the comics, including Batwoman, Batgirl, a magical imp named Batmite. So that's like a runoff comic where he was like this kind of haha, and then even Ace, the Bat Hound, a crime-fighting dog that wore a mask, and he was a big Doberman type dog. So he looked just crazy. Okay. In 1954, a book called Seduction of the Innocents linked comic books and juvenile delinquency, leading to calls for censorship. Now, this is what I was talking about with the Silver Age. Okay? DC Comics were far tamer than the gory horror comics from other publishers, but there was a cleanup campaign at DC for some of the characters. Catwoman, who dressed
provocatively.
Yeah, so to speak. Basically, she wore a dress and it was slit up to her thigh, stopped appearing in Batman stories in 1954, and didn't return until 1966. 10 years without a good Batman female.
10 years without a boner.
Yeah, pretty much. Poor Batman. Good thing he had that, that lady who was a reporter that never became anything. So, we're talking about they're taking characters out now. It's Silver Age. They don't want people dying. They don't want, sex to sell things. So you got Batman and Superman have been honorary members of the Justice Society of America in the 1940s. But it wasn't until 1952, story, The Mightiest Team in the World, that they joined together in an unofficial partnership to fight crime. In that story, Batman and Superman fought for the attention of Lois Lane, a competition won by Robin.
Oh,
that's right, Dick Grayson.
Out in left
They
field.
don't call him Tricky Dick for a reason.
Oh, damn.
Which surprised both the heroes. But I think that's an amazing thing right there that they.
That is.
That they were like, oh, I'm gonna get Lois, and then she goes after the young guy. Hey, what's up?
Get yourself some, Dick.
You want some Grayson? Right up into the 1960s.
Well, to go into the 1960s, to defeat alien starfish Starro the Conqueror, Batman joined the Justice League
of America
and the Brave and the Bold, number 28, February 1960. Fighting alongside team members Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, and the Martian Manhunter. By 64, sales of Batman and Detective Comics were sinking, and they were in danger of being canceled. To stem the slide in sales, the books were assigned to editor Julie Swartz, who ushered in a new look for Batman. Changes included a yellow oval around the bat on the hero's chest, a new Batmobile, and a hotline to police headquarters. Batwoman, Ace, and Batmite were retired, and the focus turned to detective stories. Faithful butler Alfred was killed off. What?
Yep.
And Dick Grayson's Aunt Harriet came to live with Bruce and Dick. See, that's crazy. They introduced a chick.
But they also killed off Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
This is how much that we talk about, them rebooting and doing reboots of movies for comic books.
Yeah.
But they did this all the time,
in comics, yeah.
Exactly. So.
Holy cow.
But this also ushered in a really new age of something, which I think you're about to get to.
Yeah. The camp colorful Batman from the TV series starring Adam West.
Adam West!
And Burt Ward made its debut on January 12, 1966. A huge rating success that aired with 2 new episodes every week. Wow, 2 a week?
Yep.
The show spawned an unprecedented number of tie-in toys and merch, and it also inspired a new generation of Batman fans. Sales of the Batman comics soared. That is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Created at the request of Batman TV show producers, the new Batgirl made her debut in Detective Comics number 359 in 1967. She was revealed as the teenage daughter of Gotham City's police commissioner, James Gordon, who never knew that Barbara snuck out every night to fight crime. Luckily, she always made it home in time to pursue her studies in forensic psychology.
Mm-hmm.
After the Batman TV series was canceled in '68, sales of the comics fell again. In Batman 217 in 1969, Dick Grayson left for college, and Bruce Wayne closed Wayne Manor in favor of a penthouse apartment. The first step in the move to reestablish a back-to-the-basics atmosphere for the character.
So, that was the end of the 1960s. So, let's just kind of recap here. They killed off Alfred. They disbanded the Bat family.
They closed up shop, dude.
Exactly. Dick Grayson goes off to college.
Yeah.
This is that, like, tie-off where he becomes Nightwing, pretty much.
Yeah.
No longer the Boy Wonder. 1970s. In the early 1970s, the Joker and the rest of the Rogues Gallery were out of the picture, at least for a while. Batman operated alone and relied on his wit, solving mysteries and fighting street thugs in back alleys. He had returned to his original incarnation, a shadowy figure hunting Gotham by night, striking fear in the hearts of criminals. Now, here's a little tidbit here. Does that sound familiar? Because it should. Batman was the pull-off of the Shadow.
Oh.
So if you ever listen to old-time radio,
Yeah.
Orson Welles, that was the Shadow.
Oh,
That's-
they kind of make reference to that in Fallout.
Yeah.
Shadow knows.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing, is that it's the Shadow. Basically, Batman is the Shadow.
The Silver Shroud.
Yeah.
That's totally what that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So, striking fear into the hearts of criminals. That was literally a line from the Shadow. So, in 1971, saw the arrival of a mysterious and all-knowing villain named Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that dude.
In Batman 232, written by Dennis O'Neil and drawn by Neil Adams.
Oh,
So we got Neil Adams on drawing. Okay, he became a world-class threat.
yeah.
Now, a lot of people who watched the movie didn't read the comic books. Ra's al Ghul is not the guy who trained Bruce Wayne. That's not part of the reboot.
Yeah, from the Dark Knight.
Well, that's not part of the reboot. Batman returned to television with the New Adventures of Batman animated series, premiered on February 10th, 1971, featuring the voices of Adam West and Burt Ward as a dynamic duo. The series continued airing under different names until 1981.
Wow.
So not very much going on in the 1970s. But here's where the 1980s, they pump up what's going on with Batman.
Oh, yeah. Exploded in the 80s. Detective Comics number 526 in 1981 saw the intro of an orphan named Jason Todd. 1 year later in Batman 368, Dick Grayson retired as Robin, and Jason Todd adopted the name.
So now we got a new Robin. Jason Todd.
1986, the 4-issue series. Oh, Batman: The Dark Knight by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson. Yeah. Redefined the hero as an older, tougher warrior coming out of retirement to reclaim Gotham from criminals who had overtaken it. So it's pretty much like Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. That's basically what they were basing that off of, was the Frank Miller. Oh, now I get it. Frank Miller did the thing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. He also introduced the female Robin as Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Oh, okay. It became the first DC story arc to be collected in book form and has remained continuously in print. Wow, really?
Yep, still is.
Also in '86, Frank Miller and artist David Mazzucchelli collaborated to update Batman's origin story in Batman 404 and 407. The book collecting those stories, Batman Year One, was another best-selling title. And he had the yellow. That's when like they really started using.
That's when he had the purple gloves.
And the yellow
yeah.
and like the gray, like the flat gray.
Yep.
On Tragedy and Death Touched Batman in '88. Alan Moore.
Uh-huh.
Can I go off on a tangent about Alan Moore?
Yeah.
Alan Moore, sadly, recently, like literally a week ago, was out of nowhere. It's 2016. He's basically was like, I'm fucking done. I'm sick of Batman. And that kind of was like broke my heart. I was like, really, dude? You just gonna quit? Just gonna get up?
Yeah.
Just gonna get up and walk away? Like, wow.
That's the way to be with it. I mean, when you've been doing it for that long, you're allowed to say that.
Damn.
Not to mention, think how much flack he got for this story.
Yeah.
I think the Killing Joke.
Yeah, it was Nightmare's story about the Joker. That just came out.
The animated movie did, yeah. This is what it was based off of.
Yeah.
This comic.
Yeah. And the Joker shooting Barbara Gordon and leaving her for dead the same year. Oh,
Yeah,
Commissioner Gordon's wife.
This is where we're in the Bronze Age now.
Yeah, the Bronze Age.
Where shit got real. So, go ahead.
That same year, DC allowed readers to vote on the fate of Jason Todd, the second Robin. The readers voted thumbs down. And as a result, Todd lost his wife in an explosion caused by the Joker. Batmania hit the public again when Tim Burton's Batman movie premiered in 1989 with Michael Keaton in the title role and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Cue Vinny and Cody.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun!
Yeah.
So basically, back in 1989,
Yeah.
I was just born, pretty much.
Yeah, both were pretty much.
In 1987, I was born. 1988, The Killing Joke came out, and they killed off Jason Todd.
Yeah.
That's when Pima was born. So, the year you were born, shit got real.
Yeah.
So, oh my god.
But basically, in the comics, Batman began exhibiting an excessive, reckless approach fighting crime as a result of the pain of losing Jason Todd. Batman worked solo until the decade's close, when Tim Drake, Master Drake, became the third Robin.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. What? Wait, doesn't Alfred call him Master Drake in Batman and Robin? I swear to God, or does he call him Master Grayson?
Well, he probably starts off with Master Drake at the end, because in the original, they had, in the animated series that you're talking about...
No. In the movie. In Batman... The one after Forever. No, the first one that Robin's in.
No, that's the original Robin. That's Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson?
Yeah.
I swear to God he called Master Drake in one of them.
Nah.
Maybe not. Probably not. Maybe I don't know.
You just want it to be.
I want it to be your thing, but it's not a thing.
Exactly. So, 1988, you got, or 1989, 1988, you got Batman Returns, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, in 1992, that's where we're starting out, Batman Returns featured the return of Michael Keaton as the Dark Knight, facing against Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer as the Penguin and Catwoman. The same year, Batman the Animated Series, the thing that grew us up as children in the 90s, debuted on TV. A critical and popular success.
On
series,
Fox.
Yeah, exactly. And it continued for decades on multiple channels.
Yeah.
Even you watched that, didn't you, Pima?
WB. I was on WB.
Yeah, well, that's too, because it was all Chicago stations. So
Exactly.
they were like, boom, boom, they put it everywhere.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers was the one publishing it. So, 1993, DC published the Nightfall storyline, which accumulated when the ruthless villain Bane broke Batman's back.
Yeah.
An anti-hero named Azrael became the new Batman, and Catwoman and Robin got ongoing comic series of their own. So, Batman, Bruce Wayne's out. Azrael's in as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot changed during that time.
Is Azrael the one from Arkham City? The robot Batman?
Yes.
Spoilers for me, but I don't care.
Yeah. So, Batman and Gotham City face catastrophe in the decade's closing crossover arc in the Cataclysm storyline. Gotham City was devastated by an earthquake and cut off from the United States government. Deprived of many of his technological resources, Batman fought to reclaim the city from gangs of criminals during the 1999 No Man's Land story.
Whoa.
Now, this brings us up to 2000.
The 2000s.
Okay?
I'm not gonna lie. This is where I trailed off.
If you don't mind, I would love to take
This
this
is-
because this has my favorite storylines.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so, something that you need to read. You need to read
Yeah.
too. And if I can get a copy of it, I will get it for the dojo for us. to
Yeah.
read. The 12-part Hush storyline
Yeah, I'd like
in
to read that.
2003. It was written by Leo, and artist Jim Lee brought new energy
Oh,
and a
Jim Lee.
huge audience to Batman title.
Yeah.
The story featured an array of Dark Knight's worst foes and introduced the Batman. Oh god, I'm getting ahead of myself. The bandaged Hush, revealed to be the figure from Bruce Wayne's childhood. Okay?
Mm.
So, you gotta read it. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody.
I
'cause
think
just,
they put the Hush in Arkham Asylum.
it most likely is.
Like that
it
villain.
might be all Arkham Origins.
Where he,
it might
like,
be
it's
into.
not the Scarecrow, it's like a dude that, like,
He's all bandaged up.
wrapped his face because he put Bruce Wayne's face over his face.
Well, we'll get to that. But
Yeah, that's the dude.
definitely read that storyline. It's 12 parts. It's under Hush. You wouldn't miss it for the world. Okay, so now we're up to 2005. This is where everybody starts getting back into Batman.
Yeah.
Christian Bale starred in Batman Begins, the film directed by Christopher Nolan. A lot of people didn't like it.
I did. I thought it was
A
good.
lot of people did. It did back and forth. The film explored the origins of Dark Knight and his emergence as a force for good in Gotham City. The 2008 follow-up to Dark Knight featured the Oscar-winning performance of Heath Ledger and became one of the highest-grossing movies of all time.
It was pretty fun. It was amazing.
It was.
It was.
You know,
I mean,
I know we don't talk about the one after that, but
no.
we'll get into that because we still got some time here. From 1980s onward, DC published special crossovers. Events often had crisis in the title. Between 2008 and 2009, crossover Final Crisis shocked readers by offering up what appeared to be the death of Batman when he fought Darkseid. Now, if you never read the comic books for this, and you saw
No.
Final Crisis,
Yeah.
Batman died. Like, Darkseid hit him with his Omega Beam, and that was it. There was a dead body, okay? Now, he was dead, so he's presumed dead, so Dick Grayson became the new Batman.
What?
Yeah, it was
This is
ridiculous.
fucking awesome. Kind of. 'Cause that's kind of sacrilegious, but it's...
Well, he took up the mantle because of the fact of it was requested by Alfred, because Alfred told him that that's what Bruce always wanted, was that the mantle would go on and that Dick would be the only person who'd be able to take it up.
Yeah.
So, and you have comic storylines of, like, the fight of the mantle during that time, where, like, Jason Todd tried to become Batman, and, you know, it was like every Robin wanted to be Batman.
Is this like going off that movie that we rented, that anime movie where
Beyond?
No. But yeah, you're right.
and then like the scientist tried to get his son in on Batman?
Yeah, that was Batman Bad Blood.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing the thing
Yeah,
for
because
that.
Batwoman was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All this stuff started coming out, and I'm like, what is all this shit? Because I stopped reading it in, like, 90, 98.
Yeah, we're getting kind of ahead of ourselves, but that wasn't in my notes anyway, so I don't mind getting into that.
Yeah.
So, in 2009, we get into the Batman Arkham Asylum video game. One of the best-selling and best-reviewed console games of all time.
Batman.
Finally, a
You.
Batman video game that wasn't you like
wasn't
size.
terrible.
Exactly. They redeemed themselves later on by making a very terrible Batman game.
Oh, the next one?
No,
After
I'm
that?
talking about.
The fucking, the multiplayer one?
Not just the multiplayer one. It was
Origins?
Yeah, Origins. Where
That one was terrible.
Exactly. So
Terrible.
now, Batman's dead, according to the 2000s. Okay, Batman's dead. Dick Grayson is now Batman, and, you know, Darkseid pretty much is all badass. In 2010, it was revealed that Darkseid had not killed Batman. Instead, Bruce Wayne had become lost in time. Although Wayne eventually returned to the present day and reclaimed the mantle of Batman, he also allowed Dick Grayson to continue being Batman as well. Now, here's a little tidbit here. One of the reasons why Bruce Wayne allowed Dick Grayson was because of the fact of his storyline that was introduced during this time, which was the Batman Incorporated. Batman knew that he was getting up in age, and he also knew that he couldn't live forever. So, instead of having just one Batman, he would make it a true symbol by recruiting other people to be Batman in different parts of the world. Yes?
So when did they introduce his son?
That comes during that time.
Whoa.
Oh, you didn't know Batman had a son? With Talia Ra's al Ghul.
What?
Yes.
Blowing my mind right
Now, that brings us up into New 52 territory.
Yeah.
Okay? So, DC Comic Books hits the reset button with New 52, okay? All the superhero titles start them over with issue number 1, the company's New 52 relaunch, okay? In 2014, when they did this, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
Capullo.
Yeah. The big old cat.
Big old Greg.
Okay. Updated Batman's origin story for the first time in 25 years with the new Batman 0 Year storyline. So the Batman's 0 Year that I have here,
Yeah.
I have the original, and I have the New 52 version.
Yeah.
And the New 52 version definitely changes it, but it's for the good. I really do believe that.
Oh, no.
So that brings us up to today.
Yeah.
Okay? And you know what we just had recently? Rebirth.
Yeah.
So, it's 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and we've finally gotten full circle to getting to the answer that we've all wanted.
Yeah.
Who is the Joker?
Really? No fucking way.
And we'll leave you there. We're going to take a short break, guys, and we'll be back. And we're back! Cody! We were just talking about the idea of, like, Batman over the years and how he's evolved, and we covered a couple of things about the Bat family.
Yeah.
Cody, can you give me some more in-depth information about the Bat family?
Well, yeah. I'll go through the Rolodex here. The several members of the Bat family include several people. Few of them are kind of surprising. So there's Batman, James Gordon, Oracle, or Batgirl, Flamebird, Black Bat, Batwoman, Nightwing, Red Hood, Catwoman, Dr. Leslie Tompkins, Alfred, Robin, Red Robin, Azrael, Huntress, Harvey Bullock, The Question, Batmite, Ace the Bat Hound, and Creeper.
Creeper. Who was all like freaky and weird and stuff. He was kind of like a Joker type character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Bat family.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them that you named off either were killed, brought back to life, or assumed the mantle of Batman. There is one person that you forgot. Damian Wayne.
Damian Wayne. Oh, his son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big influence. Big influence.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pima remembers Damian Wayne. You watched Batman vs. Robin, or Batman Son of Robin?
Yeah.
That was a good movie. That brought in the Court of Owls, which was a New 52 storyline. So that was cool. So, now you've got the Bat family. Great group of people, you know, good, bad, in between. You know, Batman's never really been one to completely be black and white when it comes to crime, because obviously he had the Red Hood who turned evil and killed people. He had Catwoman who was obviously a criminal, you know. And the Creeper, he was also like in between, like weird, creepy villain. I mean, and Cody, while I'm talking about this, look up a picture of the Creeper.
Okay.
So, we've got the Batman family and everything. Let's talk about what makes Batman so great. And that's his rogues gallery. Now, I'm going to go in alphabetical order, and I'm going to give you the name of the villain, the creator of that villain, and where they appear.
Okay.
So, and a couple of them, they've appeared in different locations, so I'm just going to give kind of like the first appearance that I saw them in, the first ones that I know of. Okay, so first and foremost, you have Bane, which obviously international mass criminal known as Bane. His immense strength comes from super steroid Venom. Venom! And, you know, he was notorious for being the guy who broke Batman's back.
Yep.
Which caused the whole, you know, Azrael being, you know, Batman for a while.
Batman, yeah.
So he was created by Chuck Dixon, Doug Moik, and Graham Nolan. So, pretty cool. Obviously, he appeared in The Vengeance of Bane #1 in 1993. It was a Batman sub-series.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Then you had Black Mask, which there's two versions of. Okay, so first and foremost, you have the one created by Doug Moik and Tom Mandrake, which was the Batman's issue number 386. That was in 1985 in August. That was Roman Sinos is a corrupted businessman and crime lord who's fixated with mask. He wears a black mask resembling a human skull that gives him limited mind control abilities over weak-minded. So he had the ability to control those weak-minded people. So, just imagine that. Now, they redid that when Alan Grant and Norm, I'm going to butcher his last name, so Norm, I'm sorry, Brayfogle, in Shadow of the Bat #1, June 1992. Jeremiah Arkham became the new Black Mask following the death of Roman Sinos. I want to call it Sinos, but it's probably like Sinios or whatever. Arkham, the director of Arkham Asylum, began developing split personality disorder, leading to him taking on the Black Mask identity. So kind of like the Harvey Dent of Black Mask. Here's a fun one. Okay, his creator was Bill Finger. He appeared in Detective Comics number 259, September 1958. Now, his name is Julian Day. I want you to try to guess the name, his villain name, his rogue's name. His name was Julian Day, and he is known for committing crimes that correspond with holidays and significant dates. He often wears a costume that's in correlation with the designated crime. His best-known latter-day incarnation is the miniseries Batman Long Halloween, where he is portrayed as Hannibal Lecter-like figure, offering insight to Batman's search for Holiday, a vigilante who uses holidays as his way of killing.
His muse.
Pretty much. His mandos operandi. Kind of like that. Do you know who that villain is?
No, I do not.
Calendar Man.
Oh, yeah!
Alright?
Okay.
So you got Calendar Man, one of the weird rogues. They only do committed crimes on major holidays and stuff. Then you have Catwoman, who obviously Bob Kane and Bill Finger created. Batman #1 in 1940. Selina Kyle was an accomplished jewelry thief. Although traditionally considered a villain, she's also portrayed as the anti-hero. And she's one of the first relationships you see with Batman.
Sort of like in Gotham, where they try to make them like Bruce
even though they're kids.
Issues.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's one of the coolest ones, and I love this because of the fact of watching the animated series. You'll know this guy, Clayface.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna
Oh
say
my
that.
god, that guy was weird.
Multiple people created him, and he had multiple.
You could transform him.
Well, not just that, but he had multiple renditions. So let me go ahead and I'm going to tell you each one. We're going to start with Bob Kane's original from Detective Comics number 40 in 1940. Actor Basil Carlo, which obviously if you think about the name, it's Boris Karloff type idea.
Yeah.
Went mad when he learned that they were about to remake one of his films with another actor in the lead role. Adopting the alias of a film villain, Clayface, his role, he attacked several of the remake cast and crew at points in filming where they were supposed to die before being stopped by Batman and Robin. Later, he gained shape-shifting powers and became the ultimate Clayface. So that's very important to remember. Then you had the one that was created by Bill Finger, Sheldon, and Moldoff, which was Detective Comics number 298 in December 1961. Treasure hunter Matt Hagen is transformed into a monstrous Clayface number 2 by a pool of radioactive protoplasm. He now possesses super strength and can change his clay-like body into any form. This is one that a lot of people remember as the Clayface that could create weapons from his body, basically solidifying things. And then you have the one created by Len Wein and Marshall Rogers, Detective Comics number 478, July 1978. Preston Payne suffered from hyperpituitarism, so he worked at Star Labs. Obviously, Star Labs, a big place for people who become metahuman, to search for a cure. He obtained a sample of Matt Hagen's blood. Okay, so that's the guy who became Clayface too. Isolating an enzyme which he introduced into his own bloodstream. However, his flesh began to melt, and so he built an anti-melting exoskeleton to not only preserve himself, but also prevent himself from touching anyone. As he also gained the ability to melt people with his touch. Alright? And this was until he learned that he needed to spread his melting contagion onto others to survive. He later met and fell in love with Lady Clay, and they had 2 sons named Cassius Clay, and the 2 had a son named Cassius Clay Payne. So there was a Clay that was actually born. Okay, same creators, Len Wein and Marshall Rogers, in Outsiders number 21 on July 28th, 1987, year I was born. Lady Clayface, or Lady Clay, as she's later known, Sandra Fuller, has superpowers similar to the second Clayface, Matt Hagen. She meets and falls in love with the third Clayface and gives birth to their child. Okay? Now, that's left up in the air until 1998. Okay? So, 11 years later, and this is Doug Monek and Kelly Jones in Batman 550. Cassius Clay Payne, otherwise known as Claything, is the son of Preston Payne and Lady Clay, who inherits the ability of his parents. Payne was separated from his parents and was experimented on by the government. Unlike his parents, Payne can only keep his metahuman abilities while awake, and if a piece of his clay is separated from him, it can grow a mind of its own. So, Claything is the one that, like, if you've ever watched Teen Titans, that's the kid that's sleeping in a tube all the time. Because of the fact that if he's awake, he changes. Okay? Now, it gets a little weirder, okay? Now, Doug and Kelly made another one in 550, okay? And it was Dr. Peter Melly, also known as the second Claything. He was the DEO scientist who was transformed when he merged with a sample of Cassius Payne. He has the ability to melt objects simply by looking at them. Okay? Like I said, it gets kind of weird. Now, we get into Catwoman Volume 3, January 2002. So it's number 1 for Volume 3. Ed Brubaker and Darwin Cook are the ones who created this Clayface. Todd Russell is a serial killer with the ability to transform into virtually any shape and size who targets prostitutes. That's his tidbit to being Clayface. We're almost to the end with Clayface, guys. I mean, we're getting there.
We're running out of ideas.
We're running out of Clayface there. So.
Running out of clay.
So, the last one, which A.J. Lieberman, known for Batman Gotham Knights number 60, February 2005. Johnny Williams is a former firefighter who gained a clay appearance, and the ability to shapeshift following an explosion at a chemical plant. He was manipulated by Hush and the Riddler to transform his appearance into Jason Todd in order to deceive Batman, which ultimately failed. Alright? So, we had a Clayface that ties in with the whole Hush storyline. So that's where we're there. Now, what if I told you that those were all the American Clayfaces?
Oh my god.
We have one more that's not an American, okay?
Okay.
Part of the Batman Incorporated, great storyline. Okay, June 2011. So Batman Incorporated number 6 is the one he comes in. Obviously, the creator was Grant Morris and Chris Burnham. It's Clayface of Japan is just the name of him. And it's a samurai with the abilities similar to Clayface. How original. They couldn't call him like the Terracotta Warrior or something?
No.
That would have been so good.
Terracotta?
So, just to kind of give you guys an idea, that's what, 3 villains? Maybe I got through 5 villains. Now we get into like the shorter ones where it's an individual character for the most part.
Yeah.
We have Cluemaster, created by Gardner Fox, and Carmino Infantino. Remember? One of my favorites. Detective Comics number 351, May 1966. Arthur Brown was a game show host until he was turned to a life of crime. He is the father of Stephanie Brown. Now, if you don't know who Stephanie Brown is, too bad. You'll learn later.
Alright.
No, we'll get into her down the road because she's actually another one of the villains. Okay, so that gives us into Deadshot, created by Bob Kane, David Van Reed, and Louis Schwartz. Batman number 59, between June and July 1950. Floyd Lawton is an excellent sniper assassin. When wielding gun and projectile, never misses a shot. He's often considered to be the second greatest assassin in the DC universe, the first being Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Speaking of Deathstroke, he's the next one on our list. Slade Wilson is a ruthless meta-human mercenary known to take on seemingly impossible jobs and the toughest targets as a personal challenge. He's mainly known for New Teen Titans number 2 in December 1980, created by Marv Wolfman and George Press. Then we go to Firefly, which he has 2 versions of it. The first one, Detective Comics number 184 in 1952, Garfield Lynn. He's an orphan that became a pyromaniac, developing a fireproof suit with a flamethrower to further pursue his hobby. He's an inventor of numerous weapons involving ways to commit murder and crimes with fire. The second version is Ted Carson. Basically, he was a man who gambled all his fortune away and basically just turned to a life of crime, becoming the second Firefly. Not very much depth into him, but he was in Batman number 126 in September 1959. Okay, so now we get into some fun characters here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, first of all, Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Okay, created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini. The Batman Adventures number 12, September 1993. So, compared to when Batman first started, September 1993 is the first rendition of Harley Quinn we really see. Dr. Harleen Quinzel was the Joker's psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum until she fell in love with him and subsequently reinvented herself as his madcap sidekick, Harley Quinn. Talking about Mad Libs there.
Is that a word?
She's often mistreated by the Joker, but rarely changes how she feels about him. Until now. And this is what I love. And this is why I kind of like this part of the storyline. They try to say that the whole Joker-Harley Quinn relationship is just like an excuse to show violence towards women. Well, with the New 52 and Rebirth, Harley Quinn doesn't take that shit. Read Harley Quinn's storyline. Her actual comics, her standalone comics, totally different person. And a lot of these people who hate the idea of Harley Quinn because she's she gets beat by a guy, trope. Read that comic. I tell you, it'll bring you some closure. And we've got a whole slew more of these guys, so I'm going to try to go a little bit faster now. We got Hugo Strange, which appeared in Detective Comics number 36 in 1940. He is an insane psychiatrist who uses his mastery of chemistry to create a serum that turns his victims into mindless brutes who obey his every command. He's even succeeded in deducing Batman as Bruce Wayne. Alright, then we have Hush. Okay? We were talking about him earlier.
Yeah.
Batman number 609 in 2002. Dr. Thomas Elliot is a brilliant surgeon who targets both Bruce Wayne and his childhood friend Bruce Wayne, and Batman. So that's where you get the change his face and everything to become Bruce Wayne. Okay, then we have the Clown Prince of Crime, which is the Joker, in Batman number 1, 1940. The Joker is a homicidal maniac with a clown-like appearance, bent on creating havoc in Gotham City and fighting a never-ending battle against Batman. Okay? He is the, arch enemy and most infamous and famous of the villains. Then you get some of the lesser ones, like Killer Croc, which first appeared in Batman number 357. Waylon Jones has a medical condition that warped his body into a massive crocodile-like form. As Croc descended into madness, he sharpened his teeth to razor points and began murdering innocent victims. He possesses super strength and is immune to toxins. On top of that, he does have the ability to heal from his wounds, too. Then we have Killer Moth, which appeared in Batman number 63. Jerry Walker, alias Cameron Van Cleer, is a moth-themed criminal known for being the first villain to have been defeated by Batgirl.
Oh, wow.
Clap for that guy. Clap for being beaten by Batgirl as the first villain. This one people will like. It is the Mad Hatter, Batman number 49, created 1948. Jervis Tech is inspired by Alice in Wonderland's adventures. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Pardon my language there.
You showed me that one.
To commit crimes. He uses mind control technology to bend people as well. He never seems seen without a large, fantastic hat. He desires Batman's cowl, even if it means killing Batman. Then you have Man-Bat. Detective Comics number 400, 1970. Dr. Kurt Landstrom invents a serum to give him echolocation to cure his growing deafness. The serum has had an unforeseen side effect, transforming him into a monstrous Man-Bat. If you remember the Batman animated series, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was an awesome one.
Okay?
Homage.
Yeah, there we go. Oh boy. So, then we get into our cold-hearted people. Mr. Freeze first appeared in Batman number 121, February 1959. Dr. Victor Freeze.
Victor Freeze. Oh, okay.
Is a scientist who is inventing a freeze gun went terribly wrong. It accidentally caused cryogenic chemicals to spill on himself. Since he can't survive in above sub-zero temperature, he now uses freeze-inducing weaponry and must wear a refrigerated ice suit to survive. He later reinvented as a tragic figure. Victor Freeze was a brilliant scientist, and his wife fell ill terminally, and he obsessed looking for ways to cure her. And an industrial accident caused by a greedy business executive turned Freeze into a mutant who could only survive in sub-zero temperatures.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold.
Ice to meet you. Then we go to Mr. Freeze's little buddy there, the Penguin.
Oh, yeah.
Part of Detective Comics number 58.
The Penguin.
December 1941 he arrived. Oswald Cobblepot is a devious bird-themed crime boss who's seldom seen without his trick umbrellas. The Penguin uses his nightclub, the Iceberg Lounge, as a front for his criminal activities. Because no one obviously knows that he's a criminal.
Remember on Gotham, they were trying to start this thing where they were like, well, was Oswald actually the Joker?
Yeah, but that was proven wrong.
Never.
No, he won't. But that brings us up to our conspiracies here of Poison Ivy, first seen in Batman 181, June 1966. Pamela Isley, a former student in advanced botanical biochemist.
Hey, Pam.
Employs plants of all varieties to deliver her crimes. She has the ability to control plant life and cause. She can create new henchmen with her mutated seeds. She is immune to all plant-based poisons. Okay?
Yeah.
So, getting down here. Getting to the R's. First off, we have Ra's al Ghul. Batman 232, June 1971. Ra's al Ghul, Demon Head in Arabic, is a centuries-old international eco-terrorist who believes that his actions will help bring balance to the world. Apparently he wants to be the Avatar. Ra's al Ghul is the founder of the League of Assassins and is fully aware of Batman's secret identity. Impressed by Batman's skill and intellect, he was the Dark Knight to take his place as heir to the demon. And that's how he also meets Talia al Ghul and has a son. So, that's, a whole enigma. And speaking of enigmas, let's go to Riddler. Detective Comics number 140, October 1948. Yes, Edward Nygma is a criminal mastermind who has a compulsion to challenge Batman by leaving clues to his crime in the form of riddles, puzzles, and word games.
Yeah.
Nygma's intelligence rivals Batman on many levels, but he often carries a question mark cane around with him, as well as other trick puzzle gimmicks. So, weird traps that are puzzle themed. But the biggest problem with Nygma is that he gets full of himself, and his clues always end up getting him caught. Which, obviously, that's not very good. But let's get a little darker here with Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Part of World's Finest Comics number 3, September 1941. Professor Jonathan Crane was an outcast in childhood due to a constant bullying until he grew up to face his fears. As a psychologist and biochemist in specialization of fear, he was kicked out of the university for his unorthodox teaching methods. He now dresses symbolically as a scarecrow and employs a fear toxin that causes his victims to hallucinate the presence of what they fear most. So basically, it's like him spraying them with acid.
Yep.
So, then we have Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy want pants too. Part of All American Comics number 61, October 1944. Cyrus Gold was a Gotham City merchant who was murdered and thrown into Slaughter Swamp, where he was then transformed into an undead, incredibly strong, zombie-like creature. Solomon Grundy was initially the enemy of Green Lantern, but has had numerous encounters with Batman based on the fact that he comes from Gotham City. So, that was a tragic way to create a villain. Another tragic way to create a villain is to throw acid on his face. And that brings us to Two-Face, Detective Comics number 66, August 1942. Harvey Dent was a district attorney until half his face was disfigured after being assaulted by a mob boss, Sal Maroni. Having developed basically schizophrenia, dissociated identity disorder, if you want to call it that, Harvey Dent is obsessed with duality and must make most of his decisions with the flip of a coin. As Two-Face, Harvey Dent commits crimes themed around the number 2. Now, man.
Whereas in the movie, they made it actually the Joker did it to him.
Exactly. So, now, talking about other people coming in and talking for us. Pima, do you know what our next one is?
No.
It's the ventriloquist. Okay? He appeared in 3 different versions. First being Detective Comics number 583, February 1988. Detective Comics number 827, March 2007. And Batgirl, Volume 4, number 20, July 2013. While being marked by different characters, first you have Arnold Wesker, a small, mild-mannered ventriloquist under his dummy Scarface psychological influence. Again, same issue that most of these Batman criminals face, is that they have like a split personality
Or
disorder.
have an inferiority complex.
Yeah, the ventriloquist is a dangerous crime boss. He was among the many villains that were executed by the second Tally Man, which we'll get into on another episode for that.
Right.
Then you have Penton Riley, called Sugar by Scarface, became the second ventriloquist after the death of Arnold Wesker. Then you have the third ventriloquist, which was Belzar, is obsessed with murder, though the use of telekinesis, Belzar murders innocent people with her partner, a puppet she controls named Ferdy. Belzar is primarily the enemy of Batgirl. Then we have the very last one, and obviously this isn't going to be every Batman villain because of the fact of we'll have a whole episode of going into origins with them. But Victor Zsasz. Batman, Shadow of the Bat, #1, June 1992. Victor Zsasz is a serial killer who cuts a tally mark on his own body for each of his victims. So, and obviously a lot of people are going to be like, oh, there's so many more. You know, you have Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Ragdoll, Ratcatcher, Clockman, Bronze Tiger. You know, you got all these people. We will get to them, but they're in their own sets. We'll cover some other reoccurring adversaries down the line that aren't really so much just Batman or deserve independent little pieces.
Yeah.
We'll also cover the League of Assassins and who's in that. Because that's a whole nother can of worms right there. And then obviously...
Not every episode, but we'll do these spread out.
Oh yeah, this would be way down the line. These will be our filler episodes. So this is what you can kind of look forward to for a filler episode. Which will give us time to kind of record these and not have to worry so much about going into things. So, other than that, I think that pretty much covers all of them. And I don't know about anybody else here, but I think I've run out of things to say tonight.
I think I ran out of things to say too.
What about you, Pima? Have you run out of things to say?
Long time ago.
Alright, well, good night, guys.